welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo, as we have been lately on this Tuesday. We usually are Wednesday.
Not next Tuesday.
Not next Tuesday, that's right. And we will promo it right now.
Oh.
Next Tuesday, James Dunn from Simon J. Productions will be our host.
The man behind the picture.
James, is Stacy doing it with you? Okay. James, yes. I just yell, and he was trying to be quiet. James and Stacy Dunn, his lovely wife Stacy, and they'll be hosting Tennessee Valley this morning. James has already been working on it. So he's already got it in his head. Good. They're gonna have a good theme show.
Right. He's thinking, and Stacy's doing the work.
No, he's thinking into it. And first of all,
I know that because I have one of those.
The man is the head, Kim.
Yeah, I know.
The head. You know what I'm saying? The head of the monster is the man.
There's head cheese.
And then although I will say this, which really impressed me, as people may or may not know, baseball wise, we're big Miami Marlins fans. I am. Kim could care less. Miami Marlins fan, and Ozzie Guillen is our manager who does a great job. He just runs his mouth a lot, which is good. We like that, and with broken English, which makes it even funnier. But they have on Showtime, they call it the franchise, and there's kind of like a baseball hard knocks where they're going behind the scenes with the Marlins this year. And they show Ozzie and his wife, and they've been married for 30 years, 20-something, 30 years, long time, like us. Not as long as us, but like us.
No one's been married as long as we have.
And to his credit, he was talking about how she is behind him. And he was making fun of her, and she was making, so you could tell they have been married a while. But he was talking about her being behind him and him never being able to do what he's done if he didn't have her there with him, his partner, his best friend.
So you're saying James wouldn't have been able to do what he'd done without?
No, I'm going to tell you
Stacey
here something.
Or me.
This has to do with you too. This has to do with you too. A little bit, very little bit. But what Ozzie said was that it's a teamwork. It's my best friend. He said she is, and this and that. And he said, there's an old saying that behind every good man is a good woman. He said, no. What I say is, next to every good man is a good woman. He said, she's not behind me, she's next to me.
Right.
So
she's probably way ahead of him.
So right there, I thought, Ozzie, you're scoring some good points, and I'm going to use that. Too bad I told you Ozzie said that, because I would have said I was the one to say that.
Right.
But I agree with it.
Well, see, look at you.
Because if she's behind you, how can she tie your shoes? Next to you, she just leans over and that kind of thing. So I agree with that. I agree with that.
Right. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so
that was profound, Joe. So let's talk about what's going on in Cleveland.
All right. Let's talk about this. What went on in Cleveland?
Okay.
This past weekend, we had the Foothills Country Fair, not County Fair, Country Fair.
Okay.
We had Louie and Nancy Alford on promoting that a little while back, which was a great success. We were out there.
Well, it was hot.
And it was hot.
It was hot.
But it was fun. There was a lot of great stuff going on out there. A lot of terrific food.
I know, and the barbecue rigs that were around there. That was just wild.
Now, we didn't, as I told you, you weren't going to get any of that.
Well, they were still cooking it, and we didn't stay long
But that's
enough.
when you get it. Ooh, can I just taste that right? I'll take it right off the grill. Ooh, that's good. And then you go down to the next one.
You can't do that. They were cooking competition barbecue on plates. They weren't messing with you, Joe. It wasn't about you at all. Not even a little bit.
That's because I was there incognito, Kim. I had on a hat, golfing hat. Kim says it's a gardening hat, golfing hat, and I had sunglasses on. I didn't look like myself.
No.
I looked like a professional golfer, not like a professional gardener.
I'm thinking he looked like an older man with this little garden on the side of the
Maybe that's why they didn't recognize me. But anyway,
so
we didn't get any free barbecue.
No, but they had some great rigs out there. I mean, some different things, and it was. And Pals was out there with the dog show and a petting zoo. They had some really great stuff out there for those people. But anyway, they're going to be here.
Yes.
Pals is going to be here in a little bit later on in the show, and they have brought a Chihuahua.
A rescue.
A rescue, yes.
That can be adopted.
He's 3 years old, and he's adorable. So we're
very well
do
mannered.
that. And then we have Brenda Hughes in the house.
Yes, we do have Brenda Hughes.
She is with, and I always get this wrong,
Big.
so I know it's big, but it's a Bradley Initiative for
Church and Community.
Well, see, look at you.
Kim, listen, Brenda and I go way back. I mean, I know about Big. I mean, I heard you ask him before, and I'm like, wow. You could have asked me. I could have told you.
I know.
But I didn't want you to be embarrassed. We also have our good buddy, our compadre, our partner in crime.
I know.
He does. He looks very good. He's lost a little bit of weight, and we've talked about this, about how we're going to get other people. We're going to get some other people joining us on this.
I mean, you might guys open a gym, you know.
Well, we may.
I know.
We may just open a gym, and a John, and a Frank, and a James. He's back there.
A John, I can see.
We'll open a John, right. I need one with all the water I drink.
Right. And there's another.
Who is it, though? We're not even saying. We're just saying.
Travis Godfrey.
All right.
Yes.
Travis Godfrey is in the house.
Yes, he is.
And Travis also does a show with Scott Williamson on The Buzz.
Right, he does.
101.3,
right.
The Buzz. And
He's afternoon drive, so that's worth listening to.
Now, let me tell you, I heard this morning.
You know, I've listened to you several times. I like sports. I do.
Doesn't know anything about it, but she likes
too.
She does. Everything I taught her. But the good thing about with Travis is I heard
He's had to be
this
a fan
morning,
even through the slump.
I heard this morning that Scott and Travis's show, when does it start for 2 hours?
2 hours.
I know. When is it?
6th.
The 6th. The
Well, he'll
6th
tell
of
us
August.
that when he comes on.
No, but he'll say it again. We'll just reemphasize. It's an hour show now, but it's going to 2 hours on the 6th.
Now, see,
This is a lot
popular
of
demand.
information.
I know.
And they're
I could
very
listen
good.
to
They're
Travis
very
for
good.
2 hours.
Yes,
There's
I could too.
There's very few people I could listen to for more than 2 minutes.
Some people you have to listen to for longer
Some
than 2
people
hours, whether you like it or not.
I know.
You know
One
what
in
I'm saying?
particular.
That's right, because you're right next to me. You're right here. Not behind me.
But anyway, the fair was great, and we went to the art festival
At
at the
5 Points
museum,
Museum,
and
yeah.
I mean, lots of talented people in our area. I mean, there were so many vendors that were, from McDonald and from actual Cleveland,
Now, you're
Charleston.
talking about the arts festival. Now.
Yes. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the talent that was there. I mean, it was great.
It really was.
It was.
And if you didn't make it out there, shame on you.
Shame on
but,
you.
of course, you can go by the museum center anytime. They've got
right. A lot of those artists do have products in the gift shop.
But really,
it was a really
unbelievable
nice exhibit, and it was nice and cool in there too.
Now, let's also say
I'm a
this.
wimp.
We'll throw this out there.
Okay.
At both events, okay, we've got a few names of some people we may have come on the show in the future.
If it's up to who?
If it's up to you.
That's what I thought.
Because your phone is the only one that works.
And God forbid that you have to send an email or
what?
It's all that,
An iMail, a Gmail, an email.
That new technology
That's
stuff.
right. But I'm telling you what, I did after further investigation, I'm telling you, this internet thing is going to catch on. It's going to catch on, folks. I don't know. Just sit back and watch. This internet thing is going to be worldwide soon, not just in our area. It's going to be all over the world. You'll be able to mark my words.
That's right. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
That's right.
And, yeah. So, but we've got a great show, as we said.
do.
We got Travis Godfrey, we got Brenda Hughes, and we have
Deanna Phillips.
Deanna
from Pals.
Phillips of Pals. And
With
Deanna's
Kiki.
got Kiki.
Right.
So we'll be back with more Tennessee Valley
will.
this morning, right after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Bradley County is home to a community of resilient, compassionate families who want the best for each other. The tragedies of the April 27, 2011 tornadoes brought our community together to bring aid to the hurting and helpless. It is time to come together once more. The Bradley County school system is underfunded, and our future leaders are receiving their education in substandard learning environments. On August 2nd, you will have an opportunity to further impact our great community by voting for the wheel tax. A vote for the wheel tax will not only rebuild Blue Springs Elementary School, but it will provide a new facility that is engineered to meet the demands that technology places on the infrastructure. The overcrowded Walker Valley High School students and teachers will have much-needed space and be able to use academic rooms for their intended purposes. The students and teachers of Lake Forest Middle School will no longer endure the hazardous conditions caused by the elements of nature and deteriorating classroom buildings. British philosopher Herbert Spencer stated, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. Would you take action in the name of education and vote yes for the wheel tax? A vote for the wheel tax is a vote for the children and the future of Bradley County.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat-screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. WTMB, Joe and Kim Palo with you. Again, it's Tuesday. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's early. Get your second cup of coffee and join us now with our very first guest. And we thank Brenda Hughes for being with us. Thank you, Brenda.
Well, thank you, Joe and Kim. It's so nice to be here.
Brenda's been with us for, of course, Brenda is from BIC, which is Bradley Initiative of Church and Community.
Good for you, good for you. But you know, Brenda and I go way back. You may not know this about Brenda, but Brenda is quite the accomplished seamstress. I mean, I'm talking great talent for draperies. I mean, bedspreads custom made. I mean, she has got talent. I mean, I can't even look at a sewing machine without wanting to throw it. And she is very, very talented. But it's good to see you, and you're in a whole completely different role than what we knew each other way back. We were talking about 20 years ago. 20 years. You're getting older, Brenda.
I know. Don't tell me.
I know. I feel it every day, and it comes out in my mouth a lot of things I say. So tell us what's going on with BIC, and I know you've got some new programs and some new initiatives that you're working on. So tell us a little bit about it first, and then where you guys are going.
Sure. Well, it's always exciting to talk about BIC. Just recently, back early June, we had a summit on families and youth, and gathered some folks together and talked about the situation with our families. We've done some research, and we found out some things that are troubling. Kim, 1 in 14 of our students in Cleveland City and Bradley County schools are referred to campus court. For either unruly behavior or truancy. And worse than that, 1 in 21 of our kids in Cleveland and Bradley schools, and I'll say this, on average over the past 3 years, have been referred to juvenile court.
Wow.
This is very troubling. So our families need help. And so that's what we're looking at right now. BIC is kind of changing its focus. As you know, in the past, we've created like 12 different programs all across the board. Credit union, the Festival of Cultures, a lot of different things. But we are now, we're in our 14th year, and we are drawing our focus in to work with the families. The cultures has changed. Our kids are going through things we never imagined.
Absolutely.
That internet thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That internet thing is coming. The kids are knowing something about that.
Yes, but kids are faced with peer pressure and negative influences that when we were going to school, that just wasn't there. And we found through the research that the most vulnerable time in a kid's life to be influenced by negative behaviors is when their transition between elementary and middle schools and middle and high schools. Those are the most vulnerable times for our kids. And our families are struggling. Many times the family doesn't know what to do. And so we're launching a new program called Transitions.
Okay.
And it will work with the entire family. There are many programs out there to help the kids after they get in trouble. But this is a proactive kind of program that's takes on before they get into trouble.
Right.
And even if some of them are struggling already, we still do that.
Sure.
So the program will be so wide that it can take in those who are struggling and those who who are just want to be proactive.
Right.
You know, my kid's starting middle school next year. We want to be ready.
And that is a horrible, I mean, I can remember when both of mine, and they were 7 years apart, and I was prepared for Matthew, but Corey, it was like they came home one day and you were like, who are you? And what, you know, I used to know everything. I used to get hugs and smooches, and then all of a sudden I didn't know anything. You know, attitude came, and I was like, you know what happened? And it was kind of like overnight. So that is something that parents need to realize, that that's coming up, and it does. No one is spared the old junior high transition thing. So that's a good program.
And I know a lot of it has to do with not just the fact that society is changing, which I'm sure that's part of it, but society is changing in the fact that the family unit is still fractured. You know, there's a lot of times there's not a dad in the house, and mom's working 2 jobs, and it's hard to have an influence, a positive influence. So they get out on the street, and next thing you know, they're with the wrong crowd, and then boom, bad things happen.
And you know, the family takes on a lot of different shapes and sizes. For example, there are grandparents raising children. There are blended families with children from different marriages. There are foster families and adopted families. So family means a lot more now than it used to. So this program will help across the board, the families. We have 2 different tracks. There will be a track for the higher risk families, and then there will be a track for the terminology is regular families, but I haven't figured out what a regular family is.
We're not one.
So anyway, it's wonderful resources. And the information, the curriculum we're going to be using is called the Strengthening Families Program, and it is rated exemplary by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and about 5 other of the federal offices. So it's excellent curriculum, and it's very, very interactive. It engages the family in different ways, and it's just a fantastic program.
So now, is this open to everyone, or do you have to be accepted, you know, whatever, and it's in a classroom format, or is it something that they take home and they practice together, or both?
Well, it's very interesting because there's what happens is they come in and they have a meal together. Each individual family has a private meal together. And then for the next hour, the parents will go in one section and the children will go in another section, and they are led through the process, the training. And it's very interactive. And then the next hour, they come back together and they practice what they've just learned, and they try it on for their family, and they ask questions. Well, what about this and what about that? So it's very, very interactive, and the information is there to help. And then following that is an evaluation time where they reflect on how has this impacted my life, how's the program, how could it be better. So it's great curriculum. And one of the things we want to ask is that the community get involved, the churches get involved, community organizations get involved, businesses, because you might have noticed the billboards that are up. Fantastic billboards by Southern Heritage and Regions Bank and United Community, and also SunTrust Bank have sponsored 4 major billboards at the intersections of town. And it's drawing people's attention to a healthy family. What does a healthy family look like? And that's what we want to do. We want the community to lift up the model of a healthy family and get people interested in their own family, and how can I make my family stronger, even if they feel like they're doing okay. But many families, as we know, are struggling. So there's plenty of room to improve and find out better communication skills, better relationship skills, a lot of different ways that they can improve their family, strengthen their family.
Because so many families do think they're doing okay until there's crisis mode. And they're like, where did this come from? It came out of, out of nowhere. And so this is, absolutely. And so this is really a preventative measure in a sense. That that not that there's a cure or there's a a fix-all solution, but you're aware, and you can that I'm sure that this can highlight or at least expose some weak spots that you might need to work on, and that you care enough to take that time with your family. I think that's the first step is actually taking the time to say we're going to go learn something about ourselves today.
It's also like when you think about dinner time, very few families ever sit around the table
I know.
and eat.
It was hard for us with the kids.
I mean,
and that is one of the reasons of the breakup of the family. Sociologists have told us, we've lost the dinner table. And that dinner time is so important in communication and hearing about one another and feeling with each other. It's so critical.
Yes, it was, and that's where you learned your manners and etiquette in so many things, and also how to deal with conversation and not to butt in. I mean, so much there, and you could get in trouble at the dinner table, and the easiest time you couldn't sing, or if you got too tickled, but couldn't sing. I mean, at the dinner table, but and if you were a larger family, my mom talked a lot about how a couple of them would get tickled, and they get in trouble because they would upset the whole atmosphere because 2 or 3 of them were carrying on. So there is a lot of benefits that you don't realize of that, just that time together of the many lessons and the different things that are learned in that setting. So,
and we realize that today's culture, I mean, my goodness, how hard is it to sit down together? It has to be a concerted effort. It has to be intentional. And they say if you only have at least 3 meals together a week, it will make a huge change.
Wow.
I mean, I know we can't eat together every time, but 3 times a week. Wouldn't that be a great goal?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a very reasonable goal. Let's have dinner or lunch or something together as a family 3 times a week.
Right.
That would make a huge difference.
And as a general rule, most people can do that on the weekends. I mean, most people have Saturday and Sunday where they could do that. And a lot of times they'll just pick Sunday as the day after church, whatever. But
that's always been a good traditional time to come together, is on Sunday afternoon.
But the more of that obviously instills a little bit more of the moral fiber that the kids need in growing up. And then again, you can look at it and say, yes, that makes the difference. That's where the difference needs to be made. In some cases, it really doesn't matter. You look at the young man in Colorado, seemed to come from a very good family, dad and mother together. She's a nurse, he's a computer whiz, and a good kid growing up. And it's so really there's never a way to tell, but there is always to be proactive and to do something that keep that maybe from happening. There's no guarantees, but at least it's a help.
Do all we can.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
Exactly.
Be proactive.
So now, what other programs? I know that BIC is very active in the community. You want to tell us a little bit about the other programs that you have out there?
Yes, our Starfish program, which is one of our wonderful programs.
It is.
And it begins at prenatal and it goes to kindergarten entry.
Right.
And the interesting thing, transitions then picks up at 6th grade and goes to 16. So transitions is kind of an extension of Starfish. Sure. Starfish is an in-home program. So the Starfish staff actually go into the homes with the families at their invitation and help them understand the developmental needs of their children. They do vision screening, hearing screening, cognitive development. They help the parents determine if their child is on schedule for development.
Okay.
And if they're lagging behind, they recommend resources in the community. We've got wonderful resources in our community, because once a child, if a developmental delay is not identified till they get into school, that child has a big chance of not succeeding in school.
Well, right, and they have so much to catch up because you can start with the stimulus, of intellect and motor skills and those type of thing at a very, very young age. And if you wait to even, acknowledge those until they're at the kindergarten or 1st grade place, they've got a lot of
they're far behind.
Yes,
and many times they just don't catch up.
No,
they don't catch up.
It's almost impossible sometimes.
And by the 3rd grade now, they can tell if about a child's success in school.
Right.
A big majority of children who are not on level by the 3rd grade really struggle to succeed in school. And one of the really tragic things I've heard Dr. Height say is that one of the ways they measure, look at 20 years down the road to determine how many prison beds you're going to need. One of the factors is they look at 3rd grade reading scores.
Wow.
3rd grade reading scores. It's that predictable.
Wow.
So it's only one of the factors, but it is a factor in determining how many prison beds will be needed in the future.
Yes.
So it's critical. We've got to get on top with their families and help them with their kids.
Right.
You know, and they're doing a great job, but you know, some would like help.
Well, for those that need help or want to just be a part of it, maybe to help someone else.
Sure.
What would they need to do, Brenda? If you could
Yes, please just call 559-1112, the BIC office, 559-1112, or you can get online at www.bicc-inc.org. Visit us on the web or email bhughes@4bic.net. We'll be glad to get the information to you.
That's great. That is
That
great.
is.
See,
It
Joe,
is.
there's that internet thing.
Telling you, she threw out a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, so and I mean, and anybody can be involved.
Oh, yes.
Anybody. So that's a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you for
Yeah, thank you
coming.
so
We
much,
enjoyed it
Brenda.
so
So
much.
much.
You got
Appreciate
a
it.
great program going
Yes,
on now.
thank you so much. All right, folks, we're going to be back. We got Travis Godfrey, and we've got a small little dog.
Kiki.
Yeah, we got Kiki.
We got a Chihuahua in the house.
Yeah, and those are, and it's not a yappy one either.
No, it's
So
not a yappy one. He's a good guy.
We're going to be back with more Tennessee Valley this morning after this commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Robert Thompson. I'm a partner here at the law firm of Logan Thompson, and I've been practicing law for about 25 years. I focus primarily on complex litigation cases involving serious personal injury. To establish liability, it's important that we thoroughly investigate your case. And we're fortunate here at Logan Thompson to have a full-time investigator on staff. And once we establish liability, next we turn to the issue of damages. Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to be compensated for 5 elements of damages. The first is property damage, and then your medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering, and loss of enjoyment of life. If you or a family member have been injured in an automobile accident and would like to sit down and discuss with us what you're entitled to, please give us a call at your convenience. There's no charge for the initial consultation. I'm Robert Thompson with the law firm Logan Thompson, and we'd be honored to help you.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100. Welcome back, Tennessee Valley this morning. Joe and Kim Palo with you. It is Tuesday. I keep reiterating that because if I don't tell you, I won't remember. We are now joined by Travis Godfrey, our friend, our compadre, our sports pal, because a brand new sports show on the Buzz, 101.3. Then, of course, we'll talk about what we do here in TMB. First of all, thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here.
I know you were with Alan yesterday.
Well, like I said, I can't tell you no. So
okay, well
here
then,
I am.
I'll remember
exactly
that.
This is a lot more fun sitting beside her than sitting beside you.
That's what I'm saying. Or sitting over there with Alan over here. You know,
point.
you know what I'm saying?
Well.
But you got to sit next to Scott though. which had to be exciting.
I sit by him a whole lot
Right,
more.
he sits by him, right.
But
It's been a whole season since we've sat together since last football season.
Well, we were just talking about that. We kind of snuck up on us a
It
little
did,
bit.
and it's like it's here.
It does
Oh
that
my
every
gosh!
year. You think we'd be ready?
I know, you would think it would, but it's just too hot to play football.
Well, I wish they thought the same that we did, because I mean, if they would wait just a couple more weeks, it'd be nice to actually play football when it is cooler weather.
A little bit cooler, because
Yeah,
it's miserable, and especially in those full pads and that helmet, and there was people hitting you on the head.
Well, you know, when you're sitting in the stands and you're sweating more than what the kids are
And
out
that-
there playing,
oh,
I
I
think it's
can't.
easier to be out there playing and sweating than it is to be sitting in the
So
stands.
you get to run, you get the breeze a little bit.
Right. Yeah, if I ran, the breeze would.
Well, we can just thank goodness that it's not like it was a few months back when we had 107-degree temperature, but there's no way. In fact, I think, isn't there a new thing in place now where it has to be certain temperature, certain time of day?
Well, if the heat index gets above a
breaks.
certain amount, you're done for the day. You know, a couple of years ago, that was a big concern because it did happen. There were
Sure.
several days in a row where the trainers were out there shooting the gun to see what the temperature was, and you couldn't do it.
couldn't
So we haven't been quite as bad with the temperatures as what it was, you know, several years ago. I mean, it's still hot out there.
Yeah.
Right, and June was bad, but
it was.
you know, but we've cooled down. I mean, it's like
But they have to do all they can to protect the kids.
Yeah,
They can't let them get out there, and there's been so many deaths, unfortunately, because of the heat, that they had to put that rule into effect.
And what happened back in our day? They never had that kind of weather. We just said, let's get some water. Hurry up, get back
Well,
here.
if you
Let's
got
go."
water,
Right.
Right.
You got
Hurry
it.
up, let's get back. What are you,
practice
dying?
for
Get
3
over
hours
there.
and get one shot of water, and you're back out there. So
I mean, and they wondered why, you know, you couldn't do the peanut roll correct. So
I never did the peanut
I
roll.
don't know, I
That's
don't
the Florida thing.
the monkey roll, the peanut roll.
That's
Yeah.
what the Dolphins are doing every
Yeah.
I
Sunday.
think so. They keep rolling. Peanuts.
But yeah, we got high school football starting. But let's talk about the Buzz and the show you guys do in the afternoon.
The Buzz on the sports, or the sports drive on the Buzz comes on Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. on 101.3.
Right.
Not to get us confused.
Right,
103. They wouldn't let us on 103.1.
No, they wouldn't.
Well, not those guys. We would put them on a different
That's
station. Coming soon, as you said, we will be going to 2 hours. Fridays are going to be fun. We're going to set up at a local game and do a little tailgate pregame show live. We'll get the fans involved, get the booster clubs, coaches, cheerleaders, all of them to stop by and talk a little bit before the game. So yeah, we're excited about it. It's been fun.
Oh yeah, you guys, you can tell you guys have a good time.
We do.
Yeah.
And the guys, we all mesh together, and you have bits and pieces coming. Robbie comes in, Jason comes in, Aaron comes in, Greg Phillips comes in. So it's, we gel well.
Right.
Even with that many people involved, you still, the guys go back and forth really well together, and we have a good time doing it. Once football gets going, we'll be able to do a lot more coverage for the local, just during the summer. I mean,
Right.
you can only go out and talk about, like we talked about, the weather and what's
Right.
going to happen and all that. But once football season gets going, we'll be able to do a lot more things. We're looking to add a middle school program one day a week where we talk about middle school programs,
that's
get
a good
those
idea.
guys involved. Obviously, with football season, we'll get cheerleaders, the band, kind of like we do with Football Friday. You try to spread it out.
Yeah, and you guys kind of sound like you know what you're talking about a little bit. I mean, I'm
glad you think so.
That's right. I didn't go. I mean, a couple of times I've heard from somebody else.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, y'all do good. I mean, Ron Moore is like that. If he doesn't know, he makes
He
stuff.
just
Joe
makes it
does
up.
that.
Sure.
He makes stuff up.
You have
And
to
y'all
do
do
that.
really good. You sound like you know what you're talking
Well,
about.
it's fun because you get difference of opinions in there, and that's what does make it fun. And, sometimes I don't always agree with what Scott or Robbie or Jason
Right.
or Aaron say, and we'll bounce back and forth on why.
Right.
This whole deal with Penn State, take down the statue, leave it up. We
Right.
went back and forth over a couple of days talking
Right.
about that. But that's what makes it fun. That's what people are going to listen is, if everybody was on there, oh yeah, I totally agree with
Right,
what
right, absolutely.
Right.
people don't listen to
right.
that.
Right.
So,
You have to have somebody in there talking, at least be in the opposition to it all. And speaking of opposition, I know, how do you guys even work with Hildebrand? And isn't he a big Alabama fan?
He is a big Alabama fan.
So what, do you guys just slap him around like during
Can't
the show?
argue with him the last
Right,
couple of
right,
years.
right.
With
I
his
mean,
coach,
right
Nick
now you
Satan,
just go,
obviously,
I mean,
that's still...
Yeah, we just, nothing you can really say. Whatever he
no,
says.
whatever he says, you just kind of like whatever,
That's
you
right,
know,
right.
blow a raspberry
And then
and go on.
when your team has been as low as what they've been, I mean, what do you say?
Right.
It's fun, though, to poke and Robbie's fun because him being a Kentucky fan. and,
Right, right.
so he's able to dish it back
Yeah,
out
you
with
got it all
basketball.
covered pretty well
We
there
do.
at SEC.
Yeah, we do. It's fun. Aaron's a Georgia fan, so... It's fun. We have a good time with it.
Well, the thing I think is great too is that you are going to expand to 2 hours, because it is hard to get in all the information you want to talk about. Especially you guys talk about high school, college. You know, you throw it all in there. So you got to have a little bit more time. And as we found out, an hour isn't long enough really to talk about sports.
No.
And to have, commercial breaks.
Yeah, have sponsors.
Or people calling in.
Well, see, and that's what
somebody gets on a jag with you, and or you have a really good conversation.
15, 20 minutes.
Right, and it's gone, and you got to take a break, and so
Brett.
2 hours. Right, and you got Brett calling in.
Brett,
right? You got to talk to Brett.
him. He's our Atlanta Braves reporter.
Yes, he
calls
is.
and gives us the matchups and all that. We have fun with him. But I'm hoping that once football season gets going and we get out there a little more, that more people start listening and start getting the phone calls. I mean, you guys know how it is on Friday nights for us with Football Friday. Is you could spend 2 hours just taking phone call after phone call and not even talk about any of the games. So
but
we're
I'm
hoping.
usually back there yelling for somebody to answer the stupid phone, and we don't care what you guys think anymore. I think I was talking to you though.
That's why we're glad you got the pizzas off and leave.
Well,
So
but
yeah.
yes, it's getting ready to be football
We're
widow
excited.
time, because on Friday night from 11 to 12:30, right? Is that what you're
Yes,
gonna
that's
do?
exactly right. Football Friday. Thank you for promoing that.
I am, Joe.
We just segued from
was
the Travis and the
wondering.
Buzz right into Football Friday.
That's right.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and we've got a new show starting up. Jason, listen to me. Josh Morrison and Jay Miles are putting together Hard Knocks, which is going to be a local. It's a local Hard Knocks of the local high school football teams. Cleveland, Bradley, Walker Valley, Polk County, I think. And they're going to do just kind of show you behind the scenes each week, what they went through, getting prepared for the game that Friday night. So that ought to be an exciting show.
Yeah, those guys have been working hard on this. I've talked to them several times and seen them out there at the practices, out there filming and getting ready. I think it's going to be great because you're going to get to see what the kids go through, with their academics.
Right.
Some of those kids, they get finished with football practice at 5:30, 6 o'clock. They don't get to go home. Some of them are going to jobs and some other different things that they have to do, and just their responsibilities off the field.
Right.
They're so used to being seen on TV on Friday nights when they're scoring the touchdown, making the tackle. This is going to see them pregame.
Getting there.
Getting
ready for it.
So Friday night's really going to be a great night for football. I mean, because first of all, you got you for a couple of hours tailgating beforehand. Then you're going to go to the game and cover it. Then you're going to come over here and enlighten all of us. So Friday nights are going to be a good night.
It's going to be a busy Friday night. I'm actually getting
to
also team up with Greg Phillips to do the Friday night blitz before coming here.
Wow. So you are.
I may not watch any football on Saturday.
I'm telling you what.
I may be just totally down.
Travis is going to be the man. I mean, he's going to be the go-to. It's like,
People are going to get to the point where they'll be like, that guy again?
But
he knows what he's talking about.
But we do have to say that you really can't get enough football.
You can't. No, I'll be up ready to go Saturday morning.
You can't get enough football. In fact, Matt and I were talking just last night because he said, Dad, did you realize that next week starts preseason NFL? I said, yeah. He said, I am so excited, I can't stand it. I said, exactly. Now, the exciting thing is now getting us ready as we move into that season. We've got our Olympics going on, which is exciting.
Now, you want to talk about confusing. I don't know which channel to watch because there's like 6 different channels.
I know. NBC knew how to tap into that.
And I don't think any of it's live, per se, in the evenings. I think everything
everything has happened beforehand. I think the 5 o'clock in the morning deal is live.
So
I got up just to watch
So far last night I got to watch skeet shooting. I watched beach volleyball. I watched indoor volleyball. I watched swimming. I watched gymnastics.
Did you watch any of the ping pong?
No, but I heard those guys were on the show.
And what's so weird, well, this is, and not to change the subject here, but what's so weird is that when you look at all this happening and you get people involved in all this, countries, and they're representing a country I didn't even know existed up until this year.
I know, there were some very...
one in particular, Gabon. Gabon, where is Gabon and where did it come from? And then they were talking about the people that live there are Gabonians, which to me sounds like a slang for somebody. You say, you big Gabonian? What are you? So what's a Gabon? But countries that you never even heard of, but then they come and they play like unbelievable.
Well, you had some countries coming in. There was 1 athlete. There was 2 athletes, 4 athletes. I thought it was interesting to see that, they talked about Greece and how much their the number of athletes has been cut because of the economy. I mean, this is where it started from. Those guys were the first ones in.
You would think.
And then you see Australia and some of the bigger countries, they have 400 total athletes.
And then did you see the 3 or 4 they're men without a country. 4 athletes that really don't have a country.
So they're the Notre Dame of the Olympics. They have no conscience.
And they're kind of independent. And yeah, they came bouncing in, and they were kind of like doing tricks and high-fiving each other as they were walking in. It was like, we don't have a country.
Did you watch the opening ceremony?
I did.
Oh my gosh, was that not crazy?
I thought it was great.
Awesome.
I mean, I really did. I mean, you know, I even welled up a little bit because their history is so long, you know.
And who knew the Queen Mother could parachute like that?
And who knew that she could control her emotions the way she could?
I know.
Every time they paint.
No. Yeah, she's been doing that for a long time.
Come on, Queen, you got.
I like the excitement when it was her job to start the games. May the games begin. It's like, come on, Queen, a little bit more oomph.
Sorry, woke you up to say that.
That's right.
Well, bless her heart, she
Well,
doesn't know how important TV is.
Well, she doesn't.
She probably doesn't know about that internet thing.
She doesn't know about that either. What was weird to hear is that the last time she was able to be, well, she wasn't there because she was pregnant, but the last time London hosted the Olympics, she was 17, pregnant, I guess, with Charles, and she couldn't come to the ceremony because she was like getting ready to go into labor.
Well, and then
here it is now. She's able to be there.
In that delicate situation.
Right. Yeah. That was a little ugly.
But anyway, so we got the Olympics just working us right into football, which again, the first high school game is the 17th, which is that's week 0, which a lot of the schools play.
Or is it the 18th?
The 18th is for Cleveland.
Friday night you'll have Bradley and Polk County kick it all off. I'm not sure who Walker Valley has. And then Saturday night you have Cleveland going to play Maryville at Alcoa.
Oh.
That's Marvel.
Marvel.
That's right. That's Marvel.
So.
Yeah, those are the guys with their names on the back of their jerseys.
Yeah. The
They're
ones
pretty
that are sponsored by Nike. Yeah, I heard you talk about that this morning.
It'll be fun. But Alcoa was just, they were the same way last year, and Cleveland went up there and and hung with them. And
how do you measure yourself? You got.
And that's that's the thing with Coach Crawford, the new coach. That's what he wants. That he's used to that Middle Tennessee football, and I mean every Friday night there's no. Cupcakes, is that the wrong way? I don't want to insult anybody. We'll save that for Friday.
Get over it.
You can't look at your schedule over there and say, yeah, we'll win that one. Because you never know on Friday nights. So that's a good way to start, and new system and new coaches and new quarterback, the whole deal. And of course, how do you go wrong with Bradley and Polk County starting the season off?
Really?
Yeah, that's
there'll be so many people with that game. You'll have to get there hours before the game to even find a seat. That's why I don't even bother. I just stand on the sideline.
Well, and of course, Ron loves to go for the food, for the concession.
Right, and especially Polk County.
He'll get there a couple hours before just to stake out.
And
they'll have a good
cheeseburgers, right? They have a good burger.
But speaking of Coach Crawford, real quick too. That's we have the new coach for Cleveland. Let's talk about the other new coaches that we have. We have Walker Valley's new coach,
Coach Ryan. Glenn Ryan at Walker Valley, going to do a great job. He's been around, so we've seen his style of coaching. Very hard nosed, very disciplined. I think that's one thing you're going to see with Walker Valley this year is they're going to be a very disciplined team. There's not, he's not going to allow any walking on and off the field. You're going to see a much different team. He's going to coach them hard. And it's. People say, it's the same team, but, when you take somebody who has their own ideas and you let them be in control of everything, it may make a difference. And, and I want them to do well. I know you guys do too, and our community wants them to do well. Nobody enjoys 0-10, 1-9, 2-8.
For anyone.
For
For
anybody.
the kids, we've had kids to play, and when that happens to your kid, you don't want it to ever happen to anybody, and you don't care what the rivalries are.
Yeah, and give Damon credit there because he took over when it was bad.
Yes,
and they've left him alone. They've let him work hard. They've let him do his thing and stayed out of his business. And look where they're at now.
And that's an example of the coach coming in with the new philosophy, because some of those players, when he took over, they started doing well right after he took over. And it's kind of like that old analogy: one bad apple spoils a whole bunch. It can be in the reverse. One good apple can make everybody else better.
Well, one thing that he's done really well is he's gotten multi-sport athletes to come out and play.
Right.
You have kids that play basketball. You have kids that do wrestling who are now on the football team.
Right.
And that's, when you have...
Right, and they didn't, some coaches didn't allow that, but when you have that sports culture and that sports mindset, of kids to come out and to play your sport, I think you're ahead of the game anyway, because they already have that
Well, you want
mentality.
the best athletes at school playing your sport, and a lot of them can play a lot of sports.
Well, I was nervous years ago when Kellen Pickle decided to come out and play his senior year, and I thought, oh my gosh, he's everything on the basketball team, and you're going to put him at a receiver position where you very easily, every Friday night, could twist an ankle, get a finger broke, do something, get hit. And to think that he could get hurt in football and miss basketball, I mean, that's a chance he had to take. But
And how do you stop a kid if he wants to do it? You don't.
well,
tell
it's
a
his
kid.
senior year. I mean,
Yeah,
he
you
want to
don't
be able
say
to
you
say I
can't do
played
it.
football, and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
so that's one of the good things that I've seen. That Damon's been able to do is get those kids out there to play.
And it's going to be a great year. We're excited. I know you're excited. We want to remind you once again, The Buzz 101.3.
Sports Talk.
Sports Talk.
Sports Drive.
Sports Drive.
Sports Drive. Travis
Sports
Godfrey,
Talking
Scott
Sports
Williamson, Jason Hildebrand.
Robbie O'Brien.
Robbie O'Brien. Sometimes
Aaron's on there. Greg Phillips.
Greg Phillips. And of course, it's going to go to 2 hours starting the 6th.
I think it's the 6th when
Okay.
it's going to kick off.
And then also don't forget Football Friday. That begins on the 17th, first night, 11 o'clock live, 11 to 12:30 on WTMB, Channel 5 replays all weekend long.
I'm bringing pizza and
Kim's bringing pizza and leaving.
Be ready for the Brett Whitehead and Big West reports.
Right.
every
Yes,
Friday
we'll
night.
get those
They
out
will
Friday.
call in for
Absolutely.
us.
Trivia. We'll do trivia. I'm sure.
Trivia. We'll have a trivia.
Scott
We'll have
Webb's going to be here.
Scott
Ron
Webb,
Moore's
Ron
gonna
Moore,
be
yeah,
here,
that's
and
right, and
yourself and Travis. And so look
We'll
at
have
those,
some more.
Look
We'll
at
have
those
a-
handsome men. I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll
I'm
have-
going to watch just to watch
It's always
the
fun to
panel.
go back and watch the rerun on Saturday and laugh again about stuff that
Stuff
happened.
that happened because and we have
We
a
need
good
to
time.
film. We need the video.
Video out-
when we go to
right.
commercial.
Hard
That's
Knocks.
what I'm
Video
here,
going.
right.
Hard
Knocks
Knocks talking
Football
about
Friday.
behind the scenes.
Right, running and
That's right.
things going on. I mean, it is a lot
And the
of
pleasant
fun.
thing that most people would not realize that, there's no bleeping. There would be no bleeping. It's not like they would have to bleep any. We're very all well mannered and well behaved. We eat pizza,
Every now and then, it gets a little out.
Well, I'm thinking,
yeah.
Joe and I lose it on set
Right.
laughing some.
Yeah, there'll be a couple
that,
things that
that
happen.
season.
Joe says things that he didn't mean to say.
Well, and there's others that say things and do things maybe that they are off camera that make you laugh,
There
But
we are.
but yeah, we'll take your calls. We'll talk to the coaches and we'll have a good time. So
All right, yeah.
all right, that starts.
Thank you,
So
Travis.
football is starting. So
Thank you.
let's
And
all
have
get
to
ready.
listen to him. Do listen to him every
Yeah.
afternoon at 5 o'clock.
Yes, do.
101.3.
And not just Travis, but all the great guys
Sure.
there. They do a wonderful job. Okay, thank you for being with us. We're going to be back with our little pet chihuahua.
Great little Kiki and Deanne Phillips is
And
going to
Deanne
be here
Phillips.
with pals.
And when we come back with Tennessee Valley this morning, right after this, stay tuned.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Bradley County is home to a community of resilient, compassionate families who want the best for each other. The tragedies of the April 27, 2011 tornadoes brought our community together to bring aid to the hurting and helpless. It is time to come together once more. The Bradley County school system is underfunded, and our future leaders are receiving their education in substandard learning environments. On August 2nd, you will have an opportunity to further impact our great community by voting for the wheel tax. A vote for the wheel tax will not only rebuild Blue Springs Elementary School, but it will provide a new facility that is engineered to meet the demands that technology places on the infrastructure. The overcrowded Walker Valley High School students and teachers will have much-needed space and be able to use academic rooms for their intended purposes. The students and teachers of Lake Forest Middle School will no longer endure the hazardous conditions caused by the elements of nature and deteriorating classroom buildings. British philosopher Herbert Spencer stated, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action." Would you take action in the name of education and vote yes for the wheel tax? A vote for the wheel tax is a vote for the children and the future of Bradley County.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning. Glad you're with us. As you can see, we have.
And I don't think that you're really going to be able to see the details.
Well, let's first introduce Deanna.
Let's do.
Deanna Phillips is here with Kiki.
Kiki?
Kiki is there, and we're going to talk to Deanna.
He's a rescue, and he's just as happy as he can be in her lap.
Well, let's talk about this here.
Deanna is with PALS now. Are you the new president coming in?
No, I am the secretary. Jennifer Tanksley is the president.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But they have had a changing of the guard that happens in organizations over time when. Congratulations with your and you guys did a great job this past weekend too out at the fair. You had a petting zoo out there with all kinds of different animals. I don't think that people realize that PALS are not just about kittens and puppies.
That's
They're
right.
also about exotics as well. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, and that's a little bit about what this board is about. We don't do just dogs and cats. We, as you can see, we do parrots, we do horses, we do sheep, we do goats, we do I think there's a Coati Mundi on here, maybe.
And that's the cross that kind of looks between, you told me before?
They're in a raccoon family.
Okay.
They look like a cross between a raccoon and an anteater. They aren't. That's what it looks like. You'll see the Siberian silver fox is over there, I believe. And these are animals that either people went to the Exotic Expo and bought and then discovered within a matter of, in some cases, days, some cases, weeks. You know, we made a terrible mistake. We should not have done this. And some of the other animals are livestock. Some of the horses came from situations courtesy of the tornadoes, situations courtesy of the drought, as far as pastures drying up and there just being no grass, no anything to eat. Some of the animals came from other animal control situations. The emu is on here. The emu came from the Bradley County Animal Control.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, whenever Bradley County Animal Control gets something that's a little extraordinary, as in not a dog or cat, then if they can't place it within a reasonable time period, then they'll call me and say, hey, is this something you could handle? And so we go over and pay the fee and pick that up.
Right.
So our main thrust, obviously, is the dogs and cats. These other animals, we use those for humane education. They usually aren't put back out for adoption. The birds, especially the big birds, these are animals that live a very long time period. They're usually fairly traumatized by the time we get them. And so we use those to make the point to the people that unless you've really done your research,
and long-term
it's a commitment that you're willing to make, both time-wise and expense-wise.
Right, we've all seen the birds that have been traumatized and they self-mutilate. They pull they actually pull their own feathers out, and it's it's very sad. And they do live like a long time.
60 to 80
years. So it will probably outlive you. So you need to have a plan for that. And you were just talking about a person that you're acquainted with. We were talking earlier that there was a death in the family, and that bird was very, very attached to the gentleman that passed away, and not so much the wife. And the wife's had serious issues. That the bird has not been just really happy about it. So, you know, those are things that people really need to think about before you get into these larger birds, you know. Now, we're not talking about the little birds and the little finches and that kind of thing, right?
In this case, this was a Moluccan parrot, and his owner died. His beloved owner died. And the bird got very upset. For 3 solid weeks after the owner's death, he screamed the gentleman's name over and over again, morning, noon, and night. I mean, he never stopped. And the family and the wife did everything that they could do to try to placate the bird and to try to, you know, comfort him. And he just wasn't having it.
No.
He just, you know,
I think that a lot of us aren't aware how smart they are.
They're incredibly smart.
Incredibly intelligent.
They are, you know, they're equivalent of a 2-year-old. And so I even went over there a couple of times and put the bird outside for her on his outside perch. And he did really well. And then come the next day, though, she couldn't get him back out. He wouldn't let her handle him. So what we finally ended up doing was I went over and got the bird and brought him to my house, where I have another Moluccan. And he's doing really well. His feathers are coming back. He had actually plucked some of his feathers, and so his feathers are coming back. And he had a few naughty habits while he was unhappy.
He would throw his food. I mean, it's the funniest thing. And he had he had a quite colorful vocabulary as well.
The vocabulary was pretty salty when he got angry with the family members, and so we've brought him over to my house, and I couldn't put him in the bird room because I didn't want him to teach my birds what he knew, and so he's out on the front porch with another Moluccan, and he's pretty much quit saying the naughty things now.
Well, good.
We haven't heard a repeat of that yet, but we'll take almost anything. The one thing I pretty much draw the line at is I will not take a cow, and there is a specific reason for that. When I started taking the pigs, which I have 5 pot-bellied pigs, I had to give up pork. And then I took the sheep, and I quit doing lamb chops. And I said, you know what? I'm not giving the ribeyes up for anybody.
That's right. I'm not going to look into those pronouns, and I can see that. I can see that. Absolutely, I can see that. Well, tell us about Kiki.
Okay.
Now, so, guys, I mean, this is a wonderful program. This is something for volunteers and to donate to.
This is Kiki, and he is about 3 years old. His owner was an older lady. And she ended up, because of health issues, she had to go and move in with another relative, and they were allergic, I believe. And so Kiki was passed on to yet another relative where it didn't work out for whatever reason.
Right.
I don't know whether maybe they didn't have time for him, or maybe they thought they were dog people and just weren't. But at any rate, it didn't work out. He came to us. Now he is a little bit bigger Chihuahua.
Yeah, he's not a little toy.
He's not a little tiny. He's probably about 10 or 12 pounds.
There
we go.
Yeah.
Now he did have a severe flea infestation, so he's been shaved right
buddy.
here and come on, Kiki.
So
there you go. So he has been shaved, and he has been that's been addressed.
Yes.
He has been neutered. He has all of his shots. And his adoption fee is $75. And as you can see, he bonds very fast. I've had him maybe 2 weeks.
And he's not
very well mannered.
Joe, we have Chihuahuas. We have 3. In fact, this one looks like a cross between 2 of ours. But ours are not. So they're typical Chihuahuas. They hate everybody and everything in a sense, and they're very yappy. This is a very, very well-behaved Chihuahua. I mean, you can just go right up. You're not getting any of the teeth showing or the, either diving or the snipping. Either Chihuahuas dive. But he is very well. He has not barked one time since and there has been lots of different people coming and going.
He will bark at home though if he hears something outside.
Well, sure,
if he hears
and you
an
want
intruder.
that.
Yeah,
you want that.
Deanna, let me ask you, how does he get along with other dogs?
He is in a situation where he at different times throughout the day is exposed to probably about 12 different dogs. Okay. And they range in size from about 14 pounds to 2 pounds.
Okay.
And I have seen the 2-pounders bully him. Okay.
Buddy.
So he just gets along. And when we had him at the fairgrounds Saturday, we put him in a pen with 2 dogs that he had never seen before in his life prior to that day. And he did just fine. He did great. So
he's got a great disposition, guys. I mean, most Chihuahuas, you won't find that a lot in Chihuahuas. I think maybe the larger ones, because our larger one, they're a little more secure. They're a little bit more secure, and they're not so, we'll have to tell everybody that they're the boss at all times.
Yeah,
right. But he's a good guy. Now, how would they get in touch with you if they were interested in adopting? And I know you were out at Petco, so tell everybody a little bit about that.
We are at Petco on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays of the month. So on the odd Saturdays of the month, we are there from about 11:30 to about 3 o'clock. If you can't make it, if you call Petco, then they will give you my number. I think my number is written on about half the bathroom stalls in this town, quite frankly. But you can also look us up on Pet Finder. We're under PALS, Pets Are Lovable Society.
Right.
We've been around since 1989.
And what can somebody do I mean, I know you always need blankets and
we will take any type of donation, whether it's something we will use or not, for the simple reason that there's always somebody out there we can pass it on to. Right. I have done bird cages. I have done dog houses.
Right.
We take in dog houses because I live on the 13-acre farm and I have a place to store them.
Right.
And so when we end up, especially toward the fall and winter, with people on limited income, people on small incomes,
right.
People on fixed incomes. If they call us and tell us they don't have shelter for their animals, then we will take them a dog house. So somebody just brought me one actually to the fairgrounds this weekend that they had actually gone to the dump to dump their garbage, and somebody else was dumping a doghouse. So they said, "Oh, can we have that doghouse?" And they brought it to me out to the fairgrounds, beautiful. And I stuck it on the back of my truck. So we will pass on anything that's donated. We have had donations of cushions. We have had donations of blankets, pillows. One of the nursing homes donated old bed pads that they could not use.
That's a good idea.
And those are great for like putting in crates when we transport them and stuff. So.
Well, do you want to give the number, Deanna?
Sure. The phone number is 304-6516. Our meetings for our group, for anybody who's interested in volunteering, are held at the First Lutheran Church, which is right off of Ocoee. It's kind of tucked behind the forestry division. I don't know the name of the road it's on.
I don't know what it is. No, that was
Ocoee Street. Is it on North?
No, it's not on Ocoee. There's a little side street.
It's right there into the
It's right behind the forestry division, though. You can't miss it.
We're going. And, I think we're going.
I think we are going.
So, okay.
But anyway, we want to thank Deanna for being with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
And we're gone.